This is the microchip that could one day be implanted under the skin of every single American.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers in a brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
Top CFR Lieutenant Diane Sawyer for 8 minutes sat there in a sickening fashion with this poor, pathetic family as they discussed how they were all taking microchips because they believed in America and wanted to stop the terrorist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something out of a science fiction horror movie. They're taking chips because they stand with the mother government. I'm living in Nazi Germany Twilight Zone. Now politicians are announcing that they want to get chipped.
One would almost expect to find the wizard Gandalf from Lord of the Rings striding through the long hallways in his dark robes with his wooden staff and flowing beard. But instead, inside the walls of this castle, an unassuming Jesuit from Argentina leads the Vatican astronomical research and has recently caused an uproar by opening a debate about aliens.
In a universe so big, huge, I would say, as the one where we live, with 100 billion of galaxies, with each galaxy with 100 billion of stars. Probably with many of these stars having planets, it could be possible that our life could evolve as the way we know on Earth.
The chief astronomer at the Vatican says believing in aliens doesn't necessarily mean not believing in God. In yesterday's Vatican newspaper, the Reverend Jose Gabriel Funes said, quote, "Just as we consider earthly creatures as a brother and sister, why should we not talk about an extraterrestrial brother? It would still be part of creation." Father Joe Brando of St. Jude's Catholic Church agrees.
Yes, there can easily be in this gigantic creation of God, and beautiful, magnificent thing. That, you know, it would kind of seem to be sort of odd that only one planet and this whole kind of thing, you know, had any kind of.
Incoming aircraft are parking the aircraft behind the planes up.
Bridge, not get food and water, and don't even get instructions of where to go to get food and water and medical attention. It's the first time I've ever not known the answer to that, and I'm not sure there is an answer. There may be nowhere for them
to return back to Iraq. And more demonstrations here today. We're hearing about 8 separate demonstrations being planned over the course of this weekend alone. At least one of the leaders of those demonstrations urged the government of Jordan to throw open the country's borders to let even more of the Iraq